To best understand the Thrive Issue Tracker, we want to start by looking at the types of email alerts that you are going to receive from Thrive once you configure the Issue Tracker utility. The example you see on the screen here is an actual email that I've gotten from our internal Cognos environment. This was sent to me on Tuesday, June 23rd, 2020, and it is showing me all of the issues that Thrive detected based on its analysis of the utilization data coming out of Cognos. You can see various issue types related to performance, stability, or scheduling from the environment, along with exactly what type of issue it was. Was it a poorly performing report, a scheduling anomaly, a job failure, and a list of the content that triggered that issue. Now, Thrive is running on a 5-minute cycle. So within roughly 5 minutes of something happening, a schedule failing, a reoccurring error triggering in your environment, you will receive one of these emails. At this point, you can click the More Details link, which is going to open the Thrive environment in your browser and take you directly to the Issue Tracker. On the Issue Tracker, you can see the various types of issues that exist and information about each issue in what we call an issue card. The issue cards are arranged on the screen in a particular order, with adoption cards shown first. These are cards related to your users and whether or not and how frequently they are using Cognos, followed by performance cards related specifically to report or dashboard objects and whether or not they are performing well, stability cards, which track issues in your environment related to reoccurring errors or other stability problems, and finally, schedule cards, which cover scheduled reports, scheduled jobs, whether or not they're executing, and whether or not their execution times reflect the typical execution time for those objects. So a lot of great information condensed into one screen about things that you might want to focus on as a Cognos team leader, Cognos administrator. Each one of these cards contains some basic information. So if we were to look at, say, this card, this is telling us that there's a reoccurring error in the environment. That error has this error code. It's appeared on 3 unique reports and has been experienced by 3 users. All of this is configurable, and I'll show that in a second at the end of the video. The issue card, if you were to click on it, is going to open and show you the trend over time, which application server processed it, and each individual event that Thrive has detected related to this issue. You can even click Search IBM Support, and it will open the IBM Support page and pop that search term in to see what type of errors other people have encountered with this particular issue. Moving down the screen, and this is really one of the key ones that I think a lot of people get a ton of use out of, are our schedule-related issues. Schedule-related issues are going to alert you proactively when that critical report that goes to the C-suite or the sales team, sales leadership, fails to run. As we all know, this is something that Cognos does not do. It is not going to tell you when your crucial reports or crucial analytics assets fail to build in the morning. Thrive will. As you can see here, we have a scheduling anomaly related to a burst report that typically outputs in PDF. I can click on this and get information about who typically runs it. Are there any report views associated with this report object? And each individual execution, including, for example, which server it was processed on, how long it took, whether it was batch or report service that processed it. A lot of great information here. Now you can use this as a work list. So you can see, for example, that if I were to take a look at this and I think I've resolved the issue, I can click the Resolve button and the card disappears. What this means is that the card will disappear from this list, but if Thrive detects this issue again, it will send me an alert email and it will regenerate the card on this screen. Conversely, if I were to look at Test Job, and I know Test Job is going to fail, and I know that I'm not going to do anything about it for whatever reason, I have the option to snooze. What snooze tells Thrive is, yes, you may be detecting this issue, but I don't want to be alerted about it. You can set a particular time, so it's currently June 2020. I could say snooze to the end of July, or I could choose snooze forever and click Submit. That will remove the card from the issue tracker. It will make it so that Thrive no longer emails me alerts when this issue happens. And because I chose Snooze Forever, it's really never going to alert me again. Now, of course, just because I've removed the card doesn't mean it is necessarily gone forever. You do have the ability in the upper right-hand corner to see all of the issue history for your Cognos environment and make any changes that you see fit. So you can see, for example, the list of adoption cards that have ever been created. And if I want to bring one of them back, I simply click the X button and that card will return to the issue tracker. Finally, there's the question of how are these cards generated? Well, if you go into the admin settings of Thrive, you can see here, configure issue generator thresholds. This gives you direct access to each of the formulas that determines when an issue card is generated. You can configure this to what makes the most sense for your environment. For example, for the inactive adoption type card, which represents users who used to use Cognos but have stopped. What you can do is you can determine, say, the number of days since the last login, the refresh timer, and set any alert recipients. So I could set this to send to me and me only for just this card type. I could also just turn it off. So if, for example, I don't want to be alerted when users go into an active state, I can turn that card type off. It is no longer going to appear in the issue tracker, and Thrive is no longer going to send anyone any emails for that issue. You can go through all of these, configure the individual issue parameters for when an issue is generated, and also set the individuals who receive an issue alert email on an issue-by-issue basis. All of this combined allows you really fine-grained control over what Thrive considers a pertinent issue and who it alerts when those issues are detected. This allows you to put Thrive in control of determining where the most important areas for you to focus are in your Cognos environment to ensure the most satisfied users, the most stable environment, and the best performing reports.